Enter a world of enchantment, of enlightenment, Meg's magical mansion.
Today I'm going to be talking to you about why I am choosing to quit the teaching profession. I want to give you a little background. I started teaching in 1991. So technically I am retiring. I have worked for the same school district for 30 years. But I could work another 6 years, including a deferred retirement option, where I would be making quite a bit of money. But I'm choosing not to do that. I must be crazy. I've worked my whole career to get to this point. But all of a sudden, I'm just walking out the door. Why would I do that? Let's look back at when I started teaching. I felt I had found the perfect career where my love of music, arts, certainly reading and books, and this desire to help others, it all came together in this perfect package, and it was teaching. And when I started teaching, being creative in elementary education, these were assets. I spent a lot of my teaching career working in Title I schools. It is a school that receives a substantial amount of money from the federal government, and these schools serve low socioeconomic areas. This is a difficult job that we do in Title I schools. And I would say I've spent a substantial amount, not all of my career, but a large chunk of it, working with these Title I students. But what I have noticed is that you're not allowed to bring the joy anymore. It's now considered unnecessary for me to be creative in the classroom because I don't teach art or music. My personal administrator I am working for right now is amazing. She is a human dynamo. So it's not my immediate administration that's the problem for me. For me, it goes way, way, way beyond that. When I can have a really good on-site administrator and still be very concerned about what I see going on. And when I'm not allowed to even get my kids to pass standardized testings with fun and creativity to get them to relax and do well. And by the way, I have a very, very high pass rate on state testing. My kids do very well. And some of you out there who are my former students know I've helped you. It's just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. I'm just not a big fan, as you could probably guess, of the standardized testing and high stakes testing. Not a big fan of bell-to-bell instruction. I really want to know this, and I want someone to try to explain to me why we are not allowed to have time in our schedule for social studies in Title I elementary schools. They are not taught social studies. We have curriculum for it, but it is not on our schedule. So you tell me when I'm supposed to teach them that they have rights in America as citizens. Well, they just need to learn reading. They're reading and math, they're so far behind. Come on, why is that taken out of the curriculum? People who don't know what their rights are, people who don't understand how their government works, it's very easy to take their rights away from them. It's a big concern for me that we do not teach our lowest socioeconomic kids social studies. We don't teach them how the American government works. Another thing that I just find very concerning is the idea that there's very little enrichment for these kids. I've worked in one Title I school that had an arts magnet where these kids got dance and drama and music and theater production and film production and news crew and free after school enrichment classes. And you know what happened to that school? They outgrew their Title I status and turned to a charter school. Boom! These kids in Title I, they need enrichment. It is very, very critical that we allow these children in some of the most impoverished neighborhoods in our country the opportunity to have a dream, a big dream. But when I look at my kids in my school, my Title I school, and I look at them, it's very hard to say, oh, anybody can grow up to be president. Because, I'm sorry, they're not getting a presidential education. They deserve one. The thrill of loving school. When I started in 1991, a big catchphrase back then was, childhood should be a journey, not a race. I don't hear people say that one anymore. I hear bell-to-bell instruction. I hear they're so far behind that I have to start from the minute they walk in the door, pounding them with instruction. Not allowed to have parties, by the way. Not allowed to celebrate. Bell-to-bell instruction. And you know what this makes me feel like? A robot.
And then I'm given programs because I'm a robot, so they program me.
They program me by giving me programs. And I will say my district is a big fan of programs. And you have to have fidelity to the program, which means don't use your experience or creativity. You have to follow a scripted text. You're taking all my 30 years I've spent learning how to teach kids, and you're making me teach dumb? I'm not saying it's bad to have a scripted text, but understand not every teacher needs to verbatim follow your scripts. Because I probably know as much as the people that wrote your book, and maybe sometimes more. Feeling like I'm just hammering children, not lifting them up, not enlightening them. Like you just want me to open up their head and pour it in. That was when I started teaching the model you did not want, is the exact model I'm in. Then 3 or 5 years down the road, when the kids are not making any progress and your scores are still low and the kids are still struggling, you just try a different program because it must be the program. I got a newsflash for everybody. Most of the teachers I know personally have gone to school for years. Most all of them have master's degrees. In any other field, if you have a master's degree, people do not come in and give you a scripted thing on how to do your job. You are trusted as a professional. This is very offensive to me. When I started teaching, we were given resources. We were given the things they were supposed to learn on cards called exit skill cards. And we taught them. I did amazing and fun things, like I turned my classroom into a dinosaur museum. That was so fun. These are things that we used to do, and we used to do them with our Title I children. And we excited them about learning, and we gave them a love of learning. Because you can pound a kid all day to read it, you can get their reading level to grow, but you could also make them hate reading. Our system is failing kids. It's failing teachers, it's failing administrators. This whole concept of bell-to-bell instruction, they're so far behind that we have to hammer them nonstop to catch them up, is wrong. And it's not working. And frankly, I think that we're just putting these schools in place to grow service economy workers. We don't want them to dream too much. We don't want them to think too big. Because we need them to work at our big box stores. And we need them to mow lawns. And I don't think that's right. I think every child deserves a chance to dream and think big and be president of the United States or whatever they want to be. If you don't show them those possibilities, they won't even know they exist. You want to know why I'm quitting? I feel tired of opening the kids' heads up and pouring in the stuff and closing their heads and thinking that's teaching. That's not how I started teaching. And that's not how I'm going to continue teaching. If I continue to do that job, I'm just a part of the problem and I'm not part of the solution. And I used to feel like part of the solution.